Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar Espino. Hello there and welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and today I have a special guest. His name is Steve Clements. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey, Cesar, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to have you here today. How's everything with you?
Everything's fantastic, man. Life is beautiful.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. That's awesome. So let me give our listeners and viewers a little bit of your background, and then we can dive into that. So you are 35 years government retired, part-time bartender, divorced, 3 adult children, podcaster, coach. You show men how to empower, evolve, and rediscover their masculinity, become a quality man, and attract a quality woman. Your avatar is are divorced men or men suffering from a bad breakup of 59 years and so on and so forth. That's awesome. So I definitely want to dive into that because I think that is something that nowadays there's a lot of that in relationships. You see a lot of that, people breaking up and going through all of that and then not knowing how to deal with that. And it's always good to have someone that can guide him through that path and that journey, right?
That's correct.
Tell me about your upbringing and let's talk about yourself and give us more about you.
Yeah, I was married for about 23 years. Not really a great marriage. Towards the end, it was kind of a loveless and miserable marriage, and I was like, I just couldn't live with myself anymore, and I decided to get out of the marriage because it was kind of detrimental to, I think, to my children as well, which I found out was true. But we broke up, and I left the marriage. And about 3 or 4 months later, I really dove into a whirlwind romance with a beautiful woman, and I thought this was what it was all about. Just how you have love, and just getting along. And we had a lot of things in common, and we did everything. We just had so much in common. I said, this is how it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. About 7 months into it, my spidey sense was tingling. Something was wrong. I caught my girl, in a couple lies, and about a month or so later, I caught her cheating on me. Mm. And so it was like December 30th of, what was it, 2018, 2017? I can't remember, buddy. But I was there, and we were supposed to go out the following evening to a New Year's Eve party. And I paid, a lot of money and all that stuff. And there I was by myself, at this party. And I was just like feeling like this is not going to happen to me again. I'm walking down the streets of Washington, D.C., 1:30 a.m. on New Year's Day, thinking never, ever again am I going to be in this position. So I decided to go on a self-discovery kind of journey to really discover myself as well as relationships, understanding women, how to identify the red flags of, toxic women and the positive, like green lights of good women. And so what I did a deep dive with Corey Wayne's book, How to Become a 3% Man, David Dieta, The Way of the Superior Man, The 5 Love Languages, just a bunch of different books on becoming a better man, Wild at Heart by John Eldridge, and just studied them. And I read one book 21 times just because I wanted to really just, live it, not just read it and hey, that was a great book, really embrace it. Mm-hmm. So what I did it was about 2 months of doing that, grieving, trying to rediscover myself, going inside myself. I started to apply the techniques of dating and going out and pretty much identify the quality women I wanted in my life and avoiding the toxic women. And the shit works.
Hmm. Wow.
The stuff works. It is amazing what you do if you follow directions
Wow.
and kind of embrace the ideas and the things that that make you get into your masculinity and understanding women, the feminine heart. It's truly amazing.
Yeah, and one of the things that you had to really overcome, as of this, is really your own fears and limiting beliefs of not being able to be in a positive and loving relationship with a woman, right? And so that's where it led you to do this. So you've been in this journey for quite some time, and again, just kind of getting yourself rediscover. Through that, you come up with the idea of, what about if I can do this for other men?
Yeah, I didn't start realizing that. I mean, I went out, I dated about 30 some women. No, I'm sorry, 20 women, went on about 30 dates within 2 or 3 months. And I wrote down exactly what I wanted in a woman on a piece of paper and what I never would put up with. The qualities I wanted and the qualities I never put up with. And about 2 months later, I found her, and it's just a beautiful lady that we had a relationship and all that, and it was just awesome because the principles work if you put them to use.
Mm.
So it was about October of the following year where I came across Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, the knowledge broker business, because I was thinking about going and doing something online, but I didn't know exactly what. And it was like the next day I saw them on the Facebook ad,
Yeah.
and I said, "This is it. This is a sign from God." So what I did, I put my 2 weeks notice in from my government job.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I've been on my coaching journey, for about a year and a half now, just really trying to discover, how to help other men get out of the pain I was in. It's really about getting men out of pain and kind of finding their true selves, just kind of peeling back the layers
Yeah.
to discover who you are and be unapologetic about who you are and what you do. And it's to me, that's what this is all about: self-discovery and understanding masculinity and understanding the feminine heart and how we can become better men.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about the fact that you said you quit your job, right? And I think that's by itself is it can be very, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of unknown. Being there 35 years and also being in a government job. I mean, I've never worked for the government, but from what I know, they have pretty good benefits and they have all these great perks, whatever the case may be. So how do you say, what, F this, I'm going to just leave all of that behind and I'm going to take this leap of faith? Because that's one thing that holds people back from taking those actions, whether it's in a relationship or on a job or a new idea. Like, how do you go up from that to that?
Yeah, it was difficult because I was thinking about it like 3 months beforehand, but I kind of bitched out and said, no, I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I saw Tony and Dean's course, I just read that as a sign for me to jump. And I've never been like a really big risk taker in my life. I've always, I had the government job, safe and secure. That's what I was taught. But I mean, I was bartending part-time for like about 10 or 12 years because of, children's college expenses. I was saving for them and I didn't want them to go into debt.
Yeah.
So, and plus putting 3 kids through college and going through a process of a split up and divorce was very, very difficult and very costly. But I was at the point in my life where I'm like, I've done all I can. My kids are out of college. I've done everything I could to help them. It's time for me.
Right.
And you get to that point in your life, just like the point I got at that New Year's Day walk, 1:30 a.m. in Washington, D.C., that I'm not doing this. I'm not putting up with this. I'm going to get what I want out of life. And you get to that point in your life where you just got to make that jump. And I just was at that point in my life. I said, I just got to do something with my life better than what I think I, had. I had a good life, but it's not where I want to be.
Right.
So I think sometimes you just got to take a leap of faith, because when the universe gives you signals, you should jump on them. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
It was difficult.
Yeah, and I bet. I mean, I can tell you when I decided to do and take my own leap of faith and leave my job to become a full-time entrepreneur, I bitched out too, and it took me from the time that I was gonna do it to the time that I actually did it took me 7 months, because when I should have done it, I didn't do it. I just got cold feet and bitched out and whatever. And then it took me 7 months to actually do it. And I'm like thinking and looking back now, I'm like, I should have done it sooner. I should have done it when I said I was gonna do it. Again, though, that fear of the unknown, the fear of, well, I don't have a secure paycheck, I don't have benefits, I don't have all of this. It just came in and started, really sabotaging myself, and said, you know what? Yeah, don't do it. I do agree, though, that if you have something, or there's some signs, or you're getting signs from the universe, from God, whatever you believe in, you got to be able to start acting on those signs, even if they don't seem to be nice and glamorous as people may seem they are. They're not. Signs and opportunities are disguised in this very ugly costume, and you got to be able to take them, right? I remember, I think it was Les Brown. He said, imagine you're on your deathbed, and surrounding you on your deathbed are all the ghosts of all the ideas that you could have come to life, but because you were so afraid to do that, now they're dying with you, right? And that's a good way to, when I think about it, is right. Like, you don't want to be in your deathbed regretting, man, I should have done this. I should have taken the leap. I should have left the relationship. I should have done this job, whatever the case may be. Or I had this idea of this book, but now I'm dying, so I cannot write that book, right? You don't want to be in that position. What has been, or obviously with you realizing that, what has been one of your biggest lessons going through that journey of taking that leap of faith and kind of going through that? Obviously, it hasn't been, I'm sure it wasn't easy, but there must have been a lesson or something that you took from that. What is one of the biggest lessons you've taken?
Well, I mean, it's kind of going back to following your gut. Trust yourself. Trust your gut. Because I had gut feelings about that woman cheating on me. I had gut feelings something was going on. I followed her. Okay, I played I Spy.
Yeah.
Because I had to verify my gut feelings. Leaving that job and doing what I'm doing now was probably one of the best decisions I made in my life. Because it freed me. I felt like a burden was lifted, because I really was not happy in that job. I wasn't happy in my marriage. Once I got out of my marriage, it felt like a burden was lifted. Same thing with my job. Trust your gut and put faith in yourself and faith in God when he sends you, or the universe when they send you those signs. I love that thing with Les Brown. I've heard that, man. That is an awesome deathbed scenario. Yeah, that's what I think about too. I heard that like a year before I really left my job. And I'm like, God, I do not want to be like that. I want to go out and say, damn, I had some great shit that I did, I did stuff I wanted to do. And that's really, I think, what spurred me to do what, take that jump and leave that job, because I did my time. It's my time.
Yeah.
Financially, yeah, it's a struggle sometimes, because, you don't have that paycheck coming in. I still worked part-time as a bartender. One, because I love it. I got a great following. And two, it helped me build my business, helped me get my podcast going, helped me get my coaching business going, helped me take the proper seminars or coaching I needed to make myself better.
Right.
Another great lesson is you can do more than you think you can. If you just overcome that barrier of fear, because fear is false evidence appearing real. Yeah. And on the other side of fear is freedom, and I found that out. And I mean, just like approaching women when I was starting to date, approaching women is so much. You build it up in your mind as so much more than it actually is. It's not that difficult. Some will like you, some won't. So what? And that's the attitude I took. Yeah. And that's the way I think you got to look at it. If you're in sales or whatever, you got to make those calls. Some are going to bite, some are going to bite on, some are going to like it, some aren't. So what? You just got to keep doing what you got to do until you get to your goal or whatever you're shooting for. Yeah. But I just say follow your gut. Gut instinct is so 90% of the time it's right. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, and that's actually talking about even with females or sales or things like that. You kind of do got to take that. So what kind of attitude, right? And it's definitely not easy. I know when I first started calling people and and you feel like you get that rejection, right? And it's the same thing in a relationship. The rejection that you're getting, the no, the kind of go, it pretty much taking you away from what it seems to be comfort to you, and you're just getting rejected and shut down. What are some advices that you will say that you can kind of implement to be able to overcome that rejection in your head? Because at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? I mean, you don't have to be mad about it. You just got to be able to say, you know what? Oh well, let me move on, and move forward.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing I can say is you got to keep going after it. You got to keep moving forward. You can't let it kind of like, it's like you can't take it personally. Because let's say you're asking a woman out, you're asking for a phone number. She's like, no, you don't know what's going on in their life. They may have had a bad fight with their boss, a bad fight with their boyfriend, a bad fight with their best friend. Women are like that. Women's emotions are up and down. You never know where they're coming from. It could be a calm, beautiful tropical sea where you're out in your kayak and everything's beautiful, and all of a sudden, boom, a typhoon or something starts coming in. It's that the way it is when you are going out there and talking to women or talking to clientele that you want to sell to or whatever. You cannot take it personally. You just got to keep trucking forward, because it hurts sometimes, because there's certain like women that I wanted to go out with and they rejected me, but I figured, well, that's the way it is. That's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I'm going through this, through this maze of trying to figure out which kind of woman I like and where they're at. And you got to go through that process of elimination. And the process of elimination is by just going out there and talking to women and asking them out and, seeing, because women, like, it's funny, if you ever listened to or read the book Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, he's got a great take. The arrow doesn't seek the target attracts the arrow. Work on the best version of you. Don't worry about money, don't worry about fame, don't worry about women. Work on the best version of you, and those things will come to you. So the target attracts the arrow. And when you're out there, guys, see, it's all about your self-confidence and how you feel about yourself and what your energy level is. This is what attracts quality women to you. And when you look for those qualities, because I wanted a fun woman, I wanted a positive growth mindset, flexible, positivity. That's what I threw out there that I wanted. That's how I am. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to attract that like type of person. And when I saw the red flags, like I tell you, one experience I had with a girl I dated, we went out and we laughed all night. We had a good time. We went out karaoke, telling jokes. We just had a really good rapport. But then we went outside to walk around the dock. It was a dock bar, and she pulls out a cigarette. I'm like, oh man, I don't like cigarette smokers.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I need to be treated like a princess and this and that. I'm like, oh no, I just had one of them,
Yeah.
Red flag. So those, and it was hard to like, I wanted to go out with her again, but I said, those are kind of two things that kind of really, I don't want a part of my life. And so, you got to make those decisions. And a lot of guys get blinded by the beauty, they get blinded by, they overlook the red flags. Mm-hmm. And then they get into relationships with these women that are going to treat them like shit or like very selfish, and they're going to be in a miserable situation. So you always got to look for those red flags and not overlook the red flags and look for the good qualities in women.
Right. Good. Yeah. And the other thing too, I can probably already see is, being consistent, right? And like you said, you got to go out and not give up. I think it's just like anything, like whether business or anything, or the idea of keep going and going and going, and you keep getting rejected. Like you said, you dated 20 plus women in a period of time. Someone would say that's a lot of women to be dating, or a lot of that consistency. And sometimes within that consistency, people might just say, you know what, F it, this is not worth it. I'm not gonna keep doing this, or I'm not gonna keep going out on dates because I'm not finding that woman that I'm looking for. And I can see how that could be, a stopping block from somebody to continue to push through. The message, right, is keep doing it. Just keep moving forward. Just even at that expense. If that's what you want, go after what you want, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, in Corey Wayne's book, he says quality women, a real super duper, like the one, your avatar, your beautiful woman, they come around maybe once every 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a matter of, I mean, how soon do you want to get to that woman? Or I mean, it's not about having one woman. It's just like, what do you want in life? Do you want to get married? Do you just want to have a relationship where you're in a great flow? Because Corey said that sometimes relations, they run their course. You
Mm,
know, you can only go so far. If you're a growth minded person and you want to reach higher and higher, and your partner or whatever isn't into that, you might have to make a decision where you may have to end that relationship. You
yeah.
know, and the the thing about having that one woman, I mean, that's awesome. I don't know how, I think a lot of people get blinded by the fact that there's the one out there. I don't know, man,
Mm,
because there's so many beautiful souls out there, and I like to engage with a lot of people, but it's all about what you want out of life,
right.
what you're striving for. But yeah, you got to go through the numbers. And you don't settle, because I settled in my marriage, and she
Mm,
was no, I'm not going to say nothing bad about my wife. Was an excellent mother, excellent. She was a physical therapist, a quality woman. But me and her, we just became, I think our relationship hit its end of its course. We just weren't going in the same direction,
right.
and it was a hard decision to make. It was a scary decision to make, but I felt like I don't want to live like this anymore, and I want to move on. And it was a tough decision, but you really just gotta keep looking. I mean, what I talk about can relate to parallel sales so much. It's amazing.
Right.
Dealing with
Yeah.
women and be able to clientele, it's so parallel. It's a parallel universe.
Right, right. Part of it is like one of the things that you ask the people that come to you is like, how long do you want to find? How long do you want to wait for you to find the happiness in your life with your dream girl? And then with that, you show them how to attract women that align with them within 60 to 90 days. My question to that is, what if somebody comes to you and they just went through a major breakup? Does that put them in a different category, and you got to deal with that emotions and the grieving of that before you can tap into what you're teaching them? Or how does that work if somebody just went through a bad breakup and they still want to obviously want to find that person?
Yeah, yeah. It's when you come out of a bad breakup like I did, I grieved for a couple months, but I was on a mission, man. I had like I said, my marriage wasn't great. I just got my ass kicked in the relationship. I mean, I grieved. I was dark. I mean, for a month, Caesar, I was dark, and I'm a bartender. I got to deal
Mm,
with people,
yeah.
and I was just like, just put me on service bar. That's where you make drinks for the restaurant, and you don't have to deal
Yeah.
with too many guests.
Yeah.
And I was an asshole for a while because I was so angry and dark and mad. But you need to go through that shit.
Yeah.
You need to grieve, and you need to come to the point where you have to get into the position of saying, okay, I felt the pain. I did that. I'm done with this process, and I want to change. And that's when I tell guys, you got to grieve, man. You got to get the shit out. You gotta go in the woods and scream it out. You gotta hit the heavy bag or whatever you need to do to get that crap out of you. Therapy, talking in groups or whatever you need to do. But you need to grieve. And then, I mean, what I did, I was reading every day. I mean, I read that Corey Wayne book like 3 times within 2 months. I mean, I just
Mm,
wanted to change.
yeah.
And it's all about how bad you want to change and what you want to do. If you want to get on with life or do you want to stay stuck in a rut. And if a
Mm,
guy's staying stuck in a rut and he can't move forward, then I'll just like, hey, you know, you can give him a Facebook group and read the material. And when you're ready to really kind of, take that quantum leap,
right.
give me a call. But
Yeah.
it just depends on where, if they want to change bad enough and, you know, how soon they want to get there.
Yeah, and I think that's the key element there, right? I mean, everybody is gonna have a different type of grieving process, or time frame, whatever that might be. I like what you said though, is you got to get it out. You got to then ask yourself, do you want to change? And the minute you say you want to change, you have to be determined. And as you said, you want it bad enough, right? You want to be able to get this bad enough. And it's the same thing as anything. If you want something bad enough, you're gonna go out and get it. It's like Tony Robbins says, burn the boats and take over the island, right?
Right.
How bad do you want that? And it could
Yeah.
be related to anything in that aspect. That's awesome. So is your program like, so it's 60 to 90 days? That's the length of the program that
Yeah.
you, okay, awesome. If people wanted to, people are going through something, where like, what, I want to work with Steve, how can they find you so they can work with you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm on Facebook. It's Steve Clements. I'm in Severna Park, Maryland. But I have a Gmail, swagbackdoc, DOC, at gmail.com. My podcast is on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. It's Get Your Swag Back with Steve Clements.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got a business page, Get Your Swag Back, Jack, on Facebook. I have all my information there. I mean, I'm pretty available on Facebook. I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
Steve Clements, Swag Back, Doc. I mean, if you look for Swag Back, you'll find me.
There you go. Yeah, no, definitely. And we'll have all that information on the notes too, but nevertheless, good for people to be able to get to reach out to you. With all of this, I want to know, because obviously you've built confidence, right? And
Mm-hmm.
as you said, part of your biggest obstacles was the fear of not being worthy of a relationship or having that. What are some of the things that you're doing now, or still doing now, to continue to keep you in that confident state of mind? Because I think that's huge, right? And so, are there any rituals or things you do on a day-to-day basis to build your confidence up?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd take cold showers. To me, that like Tony Robbins jumps in that 56-degree
Right.
pool. I'm not there yet as far as getting those pools around my house, but I take cold showers every day. I mean, it's one of the first things I do in the morning, because it's a fear buster. It's kind of like making your mind your bitch instead of like bitching out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's taking control and overcoming those fears, and just jumping in and getting that cold shower. And now actually I love it. I mean, especially when I'm really tired, I get in that cold shower. It revives me. I do Tony Robbins priming. It's a priming meditation where you do about 20 times of quick pumps with your, in the air, breathing through your nose, and then do about 3 to 5 deep breaths. I do just little things like that in the morning. I mean, what I do is I try to do 3 things I fear a day, 3 small things. It doesn't have to be big things, like posting a video on Facebook Live, or approaching a beautiful woman at just at a restaurant, or if I see her, just calling, a certain amount of my avatars, maybe go for a record that day, because I try to average 20 to 25 avatar calls a day, plus I do other reach outs. But starting small has been the best way I've gotten better. And I mean, I'm taking a Filipino stick fighting course, a martial arts course, to just kind of get, my street cred up, I love, just kind of follow your passions, because people say, well, I want to do this, I want to do that, but they don't do them. I'm going to go jump out of a plane. I'm going to go tandem, parachute,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do stuff. I mean, once you do stuff you fear, man, it gives you so much confidence.
I didn't see it that way, and I really like that. I like the idea of doing small items that you're afraid of, because you're right, that's going to help you build that confidence. So I didn't see that. So if you're in the business of, you got to call people, and you don't like the rejection, just pick up the phone and call them, whatever the case may be, right? That's actually a pretty good practice to put in place, and it's actually even giving me ideas of me doing the same thing. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And you know what? A lot of people quit things because it's not working for them right away. You gotta, it takes some time. I'm on 200, almost 200, I think 285 straight days of cold showers. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And I started off with warm showers and switched to cold. And the first couple of times it was like 5 seconds, and I was like, screw this, because it takes it away. But the more you do it, after a month of doing warm to cold, I just went whole hog cold. Wow. And now it's kind of like, it's a very refreshing thing to me. So, because I swore I'd never do cold showers. This guy said, you got to do them. I'm like, no, I like my hot showers. But I mean, I found the benefits, and I found, to me, it's more the mental game, right, where I can overcome that. I'm not bitching out. I'm doing it. I'm jumping in.
Yeah,
And
I was doing some of those. I did the 75 hard. I don't know if you heard of
yeah,
that. Yeah, and so on I think
oh
it's
yeah,
phase one or phase two. I forget. You got to do cold showers, and that kicked my ass. You know, and
yeah,
obviously, I'm in LA, so it doesn't snow here, but it can get cold to us. It can get cold, and I was doing them last year, 2019. 2019 to 2020 during December, and that shit kicked my ass. It was cold, but again, I did see the benefit. I haven't gone back to it. I definitely do got to go back to it because I did see the benefit back then. When I was doing it, and yeah, I mean, again, those
yeah.
little things though, I like the idea of facing those fears head on is going to help you rebuild or even take your confidence level to a different place, which is pretty awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's amazing because Tony Robbins says, people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So if you be consistent in just doing little steps every day, it's like compound interest, like in an investment,
Mm,
I mean, that's how I could really have retired because I saved in my 401k, and I accumulated little by little, every 2 weeks I was putting money into my investment. Now I got a nice good stash in there where I
mm,
can kind of I was more comfortable to make that jump. It's just like this. It's just like the cold showers that build your confidence to overcome your fear and to take control of your mind. It's just the little things, like just talking to that beautiful woman that you see, just saying hi, how you doing?
yeah.
I get a lot of practice at the bar. I'm lucky. I'm in a
Right.
social situation where I have to make contact with people. And if that's what you got to do to get better at being in social situations, do it. Get a job where you deal with people.
Mm,
I reach out. It's gotten so, because I used to be a banquet bartender about 10 years, 12 years ago, and you had to deal with, we had 1,500 people at bull roast and stuff, and you're dealing with hundreds of people. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? What you need? What you got? What you need? What do you like?
mm.
That builds up your reps. It's like working out. It builds up your reps. You get stronger and stronger. Now, I mean, I'm like at the bar. I can talk so much shit at my bar because I have a great,
Right.
clientele, and the manager knows it, and and I just have. It's like a party sometimes.
Right.
We're there laughing, joking, and people, they want that experience. And that, if you can do that in dating or in sales or in the podcasting, just have fun and be real, be
Right.
yourself, dude. That's gold.
Yeah. Right.
That is gold.
Yeah, no, I love that. And talking about overcoming obstacles, my last question for you is people that are watching, listening to this, if they're going through any kind of challenge, whatever that challenge might be, what is one thing you can tell them that they can start doing today to start overcoming that challenge?
Well, it depends on, you got to live your truth.
Mm,
You got to go with your gut, live your truth, speak your truth. And it's hard. I was a bullshitter, Cesar. I was a liar. I was a scared little kid when I
hmm.
was young. I wouldn't speak my truth. I wouldn't live my truth. I was always going along. I was a pleaser, you know. But then in my 30s, I'm like, man, I can't live like this. And I started bartending. I started getting out there and doing stuff I love to do. Because my government job really sucked the soul out of me.
Hmm.
Thank God I did bartending because that gave me some aliveness.
Mm,
But you got to live your truth and you got to speak your truth because that's just who you are. And some will like you, some won't. So what? You know, it's you got to do what's right for you. You got to live with and kind of be selfish and protect yourself. Live for yourself. I mean, and not in a selfish way. I'm thinking when you live your truth, man, you become a better person.
yeah.
You become because you're being real. I mean, I believe everybody has goodness inside of them. I believe that in my soul. I think it just gets wrecked in their heads sometimes when they don't, when they kind of be a pleaser or they kind of go against what they really want to do, and things get kind of messed up in your head. I mean, following your gut to me has been my biggest kind of like revelation and speaking my truth. And because it's a job. It's just like you transforming your body into that good body. You got
Hmm.
to do the same thing with your mind, right? You got to put the reps in. You got to
Right.
follow a good program, and follow people who are where you want to be, where they're at now. Follow them, see what they do. It's just like a workout program for your mind. You got to find the stuff that works for you. That's what you want to do. and run with it and live your life the way you want to live. Like
Yeah.
design your lives, you know?
Right. Yeah, because you only have one life. And at the end of the day, it's like if today was your last day, how will you live your last day of life? Right. And so you got to be able
Exactly.
to have that kind of mentality. So yeah, I definitely see that.
Yeah, man. And it's like, you know, I'm an optimist, man. I think I'm going to live till I'm 90. I mean, I'm 59 right now, so I got 30 years. Steve, you got 30 years. What the hell are you going to do?
Mm,
Get with it. Get with the program.
right.
And that's an optimist view. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know right now I'm speaking my truth. I'm doing what I want to do. And I want to help, you know, I want to add value to the world. I want to help other guys that are in pain like I was and try to make a quick kind of a jumpstart their life
Right.
where they're happy, you know? Man, life should be like, it should be fun and happy. I mean, we're going to have our hard times and all, but damn, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you just kind of look at things, you go into nature, you just experience, you know, the beauty of the world. It's a beautiful world out there. And there are beautiful people. I found there's a lot of great, beautiful people out there with my coaching, with my reaching out on Facebook. Because I built a brotherhood of guys. I mean, I got guys from Australia. I got guys from England, you know, all over the US. And people are people, man, and they're good in their hearts.
Yeah.
You know, I think they just, you know, there's a lot more good out there than you would really think. And if you got that positive energy, guess what? It's going to come back to you.
It'll come back to you for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. No, I love that. Thank you again, Steve, for being here. I really enjoyed our conversation. Anything else before I let you go?
Hey, man, just get out there and you know, live your life the way you want to live it. Design your life. You can do it. Forget about yesterday. Don't look in the rearview mirror. You know, look ahead. Focus on what you want to be and have fun, man. Have fun.
Yeah. I love it. I love that. Definitely. Well, Steve, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you for being on the show
Thank you,
today.
bro.
Yeah, and for the
Thank
rest
you,
of you
man.
guys, and for the rest of you guys, do me a favor. Make sure you check him out. Find him on Facebook and connect with him and see if there's anything he can do and help you in your own journey. And stay tuned for our next episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Goodbye.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.cesarrespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.